Quit eating, folks, 30 seconds to showtime. Grab your seat, leave your drinks to the bar. Hold your breath, put your hands together. We present Stanford Bay's finest star. Who has danced with the Mariner Kitty? Who has dined with the Queen of Vermont? We trace the voyages of Sinbad. Corresponded with the men who can't live us to be. C'est pas la même chose que la vache qui rit. Et la vache est fort, mon ami.
And hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of the G Spot. My name is Jeff with the G, and I've got a really good guest today. I know I had somebody else planned for today, but unfortunately, life happens, and so they couldn't make it. But fear not, intrepid travelers or whatnot you want to call it. I have a really good friend that stepped in, who's this amazing, super talented person who I'm really ashamed that I haven't had him on earlier. Is the one, the only, the amazing Mexigun.
The Mexigun.
The Mexigun. That's right. How's it going, Mexi?
What's up? No, it's going great. Awesome. Doing great. Going great.
That's good. That's good. For people who aren't aware, people should be aware if they watch any of the shows I do here on the
hmm
channel, or the shows I produce here on the channel. For Gaffing the Truth, Mexi's the guy who made the music for both Gaffing the Truth, the show, and also when I showcase like the weird commercial weird stuff as well. That's also Mexi's music. So he's amazing, super talented, and he does all the instruments. So it's really really great. So I
hmm
love your stuff, man. It's all over the place in the best possible way, and that's why I like it. But I like all over the place stuff, so I really dig it, man. How'd you get started with all this stuff?
So, well, first off, thank you. I'm very flattered. Thank you. Yeah, I'm almost speechless. So I appreciate all the compliments and the praise. I mean, we're all good at, I'd like to say that we're all good at one thing, right? Somebody's like an awesome artist that can draw really well. Some people are good with their hands. Some people work on cars. We all have something. And if I was blessed with one thing, it was kind of like the knowledge of music. I mean, I can't draw. I can't build things. I'm not very good with my hands, but music's just kind of my deal. Right? That's just that's the one thing I'm good at. So as far as, I mean, I've always been into music. I remember when I was about 4 years old, my sister is about five. She's 5 years older than me. And I kind of tagged along to piano lessons with her. I was 4, she was 9. And I think I was just tagging along to tag along. And I remember sitting behind the piano after my sister had done her lessons. I remember sitting behind the piano, and this is one of my earliest memories, and just kind of looking at the music, right? And the teacher lady was like, "Okay, this is C, and then this is C on the notes, right?" And I was like, oh, "Okay, that's pretty easy, And then this is D, and then this is where D is on the music note." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, and so it just clicked. Even at 4 or 5 years old, music just always kind of made sense to me. So you could say it started back there at the Cody's house. I think their last name was Mr. and Mrs. Cody. Might have actually been Dr. Cody. I mean, I'm sure they're long past now. They were up in age way back then, and so.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of where my music career kind of first started. You can say all the way back to where I was 4 and 5 years old. So it's
Oh
a good
wow,
starting point.
that is a
Yeah.
good starting point. That's most I yeah most musicians I know. Yeah, they get started as a kid. I dabbled in music when I was younger. I was fair at it, and I'm fair at a lot of things, but I like doing the things. So that's why I do them. But yeah, like once upon a time, I was a drummer, so I used to do a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that.
You were talking about that in the
Yeah, when I was
pregame.
in pregame, yeah, because cheers. But yeah, that we yeah, like when I was like in middle school and high school, I was in band and stuff like that, and I was given the option like, all right, cool, you could learn band stuff. I go, oh yeah, awesome. I was a lot more shy then, so like drama, like I mean, while I liked the idea, I was still scared to death to get on stage. But I went, all right, cool, band. What can you? Hey,
Yeah, that was wicked. Somebody's messing with the lights
the
behind me. It's like,
crazy tech,
"Ooh."
yeah, the crazy tech, yeah. That's they
Yeah.
never know what's gonna happen. No,
Yeah, yeah, I know it.
No, yeah. No, so like, I get the choice of like the different instruments to play, and
Hmm.
like the two things that interested me, like I was kind of into like the trombone seemed interesting to me, and then
Yeah.
like percussion, drums, and I went, I'm gonna do like, and then just looking at the number of people going into sections, drums had less people like signing up for it, so I decided to. I decided to get into drums. And Masho Cosplays is in the chat. It tuned in just in time to see an arm come through the door and switch on. Let's switch the light switch. That's right. Spooky. Woo! Thanks for joining the channel, Masha. We completely appreciate it. I'm assuming I'm talking with Mexigun here. We're talking weird music stuff, how we got started. But yeah, but
Yep.
I was always just fair at drumming. I was
Hmm.
never great. I was like head of the drum line for a couple of years, but when it came into like doing
Oh, that's
like
cool.
drum set, but yeah, like drum set stuff, I'm like I can do one thing. I can concentrate on one thing, but when I start adding extra stuff, it just like
Hmm.
my quality just went downhill quick. So
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things to teach because I've actually given some drum lessons before. And you have to kind of tell, most of it's like kids, so, people, parents wanting their kids to kind of play, and then I kind of go and kind of give an assessment of kind of what I think. And what I tell the kids is it's hard. You have to, it's almost like an octopus, right? Like this hand needs to not think what this hand is doing. You have to somehow separate your appendages to each have its own brain. And it's
yeah,
something that's very challenging. So yeah.
and that's why I went from behind the drum set to being on the microphone for my high school band, high school and beginning years of college bands, because I had a much easier time, dealing with that aspect of it, because it's like one, it's one focused one thing, but two is
Hmm.
that for people who've seen me do stuff, I'm actually I'm a fairly decent hype man. I figure if you're skilled at one thing, being on stage to hype shit, that's my
Yeah.
jam. That's why I've been doing this for years. Like it's the idea is the hype. I'm here to hype shit.
Hmm.
Um, I guess I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah,
So
yeah,
so I would say that, for me, of course that's kind of where it started, where I kind of dabbled in music, right? But for me, I would say the turning point was definitely, I would, 1991. 1991 I was 11. It was yeah, that was 1992. Anyway, somewhere around there, early 90s. I was in the fifth grade, I can tell you that. And I know that over time, this particular band has gotten some controversy or a lot of varying opinions. But for me, when Nirvana came out with "Smells Like Teen Spirit,"
oh
um,
shit, yes, yeah, like
that was the turning point, because before that I was listening to what I would say, Vanilla Ice. I was a big MC Hammer fan. I was kind of listening to, my sister was older, so I was listening to a lot of new wave '80s stuff, but never any rock music, never like any metal, definitely, or anything like that. I was kind of jaded. Um, but then when Nirvana came out with "Smells Like Teen Spirit," I was in the fifth grade, and I told my mom, I said, "Mom, I want to learn how to play guitar like that." And my mother, being the supportive woman that she was and still is to this day, that summer between my fifth and sixth grade year, went and bought me a $90 cheap guitar and a little bitty amp, and put me in guitar lessons at the local music store here in Wharton, which is actually not there anymore. And yeah, that summer I started learning folk music. I mean, I wasn't playing rock; I was playing, Jesus in the bosom of Abraham or something like that, like these weird folk songs. And it was cool. I learned my C's, my A's, my D's, my G's. I learned the very basic guitar, but I was like, man, something's not right here. Like, this doesn't sound like Nirvana. This is something else, right? But I
well,
do appreciate it. I do appreciate it because I did learn the right way.
Well, what's weird is that that sort of stuff is exactly what Kurt did. So don't feel bad. I mean, like, look, the
Mhm.
guitar he played the most was the cheap, like on stage, he played the cheap $90
Yeah.
guitar. His guitar, he he never during his life, like everything he played was like he never played it like as stage productions got bigger, so like better and better speaker
Hmm.
stuff. But his actual guitars that he mostly played were all like cheap hand me downs, and
Yeah.
so you had that respect. And two is like, I mean, you listen to Nirvana, you listen to music in the background. It's that while I may have a harder edge, but he's playing a lot of folksy sort of music. So you're
Oh yeah.
totally right. So
Yeah. No, that definitely. And I learned that over. I'm sorry. Were you able to hear that? I just got an alert. I don't know if that came through on your end or not.
no,
Okay.
it's perfectly fine. That's okay. Yeah, it's all right. No worries. There is not an Amber Alert dealing with Mexigun or any of the people in
Yeah,
his
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Not at all.
Hold on. What? See, because
No, you're
now
fine.
this is gonna. No, I'm just saying because I have this iMessages. Um. Okay.
No, you're fine.
Anyway, I just want to make sure that it's not gonna go crazy in my ears because that's gonna bother the crap out of me. Maybe if it's
Also
close to focus.
fair.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that does.
Okay.
Yeah, that I get that.
Okay. Cool. But anyway, back to it. So I learned guitar the right way, and I'll never forget. I'm gonna thank somebody else. One of my uncles. Um, came down and well, let me ask you this, Jeff. Do you play guitar or not?
I'm
I'm only
I'm
asking
familiar.
because I don't know, like, if I'm going to talk.
I've lived and dealt with musicians all my life. While I don't particularly play guitar, I'm familiar enough on how it works. My
Okay, so
ex
do you know what
yeah
a
my
bar
ex
chord is?
I do know what a bar code. My ex roommate
Okay, okay,
that I lived with for a while was JB Zay, who is a musician in Houston and is a guitarist and stuff like that. So I know enough. I can't do the thing, but I know what the thing is.
okay, yeah, yeah. So my uncle came down, and I was kind of telling him, I'm like, I'm learning this stuff, but it's not. I still can't play. Smells like Teen Spirit, right? And he's like, well, do you know what a bar chord is? I'm like, no, what's a bar chord? And then, come to as I'm an older gentleman now, right? I've now learned that bar chords are like 90% of rock music, and it's a lot of bar chords, especially power bar chords. And so when my uncle was like, well, you play an A and then you just move it up and then you put your bar over here. Now you're playing a B flat, a B, a C, a C sharp, D, and you just go up and it's a bar. And same thing with an E, F, and you go all the way up. And so after he told me that, that's when it just, that F to B flat and then A flat to D flat and Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean that was it. Da 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 da. And then after that, the doors were wide open for me to learn to play rock music. But that was, yeah, sixth grade. Sixth grade is when
That
I started
was
playing. I did my first talent show at seventh grade. Yeah, or eighth grade.
uh,
Eighth grade was when we did our first talent show.
all right. So that puts me on knowing what your age is because when Smells Like Teen Spirit broke, I was a senior in high school. And then
Hmm.
I listened to everything, but like in high school, I hung out with I was a super smart kid, but I hung out with all the metalheads. So
Hmm.
we had a band, like I had a little high school band, like you do in small town Texas. You
Hmm.
could either like be into football, be into cows, or do weird stuff. So like we had a band, and so a lot of stuff was metal. And then when like Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, we went, all right, we're gonna do that song because it rocks and it's awesome. And it wasn't what everybody else was
Yeah.
doing because everybody was doing a lot more like Metallica y sort of stuff and all that sort of stuff, which is good. Don't get
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
wrong, but it's one of those we're gonna like in a weird sort of way, like for the local bands, we're gonna cover the stuff that people aren't covering yet. And like this first thing that came out of Seattle, which was Smells Like Teen Spirit, so that's what we did was that song. So I still know all the lyrics
Hmm.
of that song because of that. Um, and But yeah, no, that's the whole like Seattle grunge movement. I deep dove into that shit. Like by the end of that year, outside of the handful of metal bands that I still loved, but in college I really deep dove into that stuff more as well. So I really got behind it. But that's cool. That what got you into the music, essentially music. I mean, I know you started learning stuff as a
Oh yeah.
kid, but what really lit the fire passion for you
Oh
was something Kurt Cobain. Man, that's amazing. I'm proud
no,
of
it was, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. You know, I attribute it if Cobain kind of lit the fire for me, then Dave Grohl would be my next kind of. You know, you mentioned, I think you mentioned it earlier in the intro, where I do when I do record my music and put it out there for free. I just put it out there. But Dave Grohl inspired me to be able to do that because you know the first Foo Fighters self-titled album, it's all him, bass,
Yeah.
guitars, drums, vocals, and I'm like, well, if Dave Grohl can do that, and I've got a studio and I've got all the instruments, then I can do that. So all the stuff that I do, yeah, it's I play it all. I record the drums first, and the bass and guitars, and you know, so he would probably be number two up there. Would be Mr. Grohl.
Yeah, who's now done the Foo Fighters longer than he was ever, like I think almost twice as long than he was in Nirvana now. That's what's
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
No, it's also, yeah, Dave Grohl, one thing, amazing musician, amazing talents all the way around, and like he'll do weird, like any side project he's involved with, he'll play one of those other instruments for that side project. Like he did some stuff with
Yep.
Queens of the Stone Age where he was strictly a
Oh
drummer.
yeah.
Same with them Crooked Vultures. He did something where he played just the bass. It's just shit like that. Or I think he did guitar for like Tenacious D for their first record, and like all this sort of stuff. So,
Mhm.
yeah, Dave Grohl's and also a really nice guy.
Yes.
So just like beyond music, just a nice guy. And so,
Right. That's right.
so yeah, no, that's
You know, and
also a
oh, go ahead.
worthy person to be to have it in your little pantheon of musicians that you're into. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention this is gonna. And so I guess you kind of said how my music's a little not all over the place, but it definitely has some broadness to it. I'd be
Yeah.
remiss the first person that gave me my professionally paid gig. I was 15 years old, and it was the spring break of '96, I believe. I played a quinceañera, which I think most people know what that is, for a Tejano band. I actually, my first professional gig, I played guitar in a Tejano band, and they were Grupo Éxito, and Roel Rodriguez, who is still a good friend of mine today, excellent sound man. He's ran sound for Grammy award winning artists in the Houston area.
That's cool.
He
No, I
still
love
does
you.
it, but yeah,
I
but
that's cool. I may be a white boy, but I love me some good Tejano. So, or like specifically, I like really good norteño. I mean, I like Tejano, all right, but I love some really good norteño.
yeah,
And then there's some really, uh, there's some really good rock music from south of the border that people need to listen
there
to.
is. Yeah,
There's
that
some
people don't know
phenomenal
about.
shit. Just get over the language barrier. Just fucking just embrace it because there's some really great bands and really great artists that even
Mhm.
beyond rock, just like dude, Vicente Fernandez. Check that shit out. Amazing, like old school, like Tejano. Listen, is so like fucking amazing. And there's also many others people. Just I worked in music for a number of years, so I listened to everything. So that's the reason why I
Yeah,
go. Oh yeah,
yeah,
we'll talk music. That's why I go because I will.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I was 15 years old, and I was. It's funny because a quinceañera, for those that don't know, is kind of like a celebration for a young girl's 15th birthday. So, quinceañera 15th kind of celebration, the 15-year-old deal. It's a big deal.
yeah,
And so here I was 15 at the time, and that's why I remember it. I'm on stage playing guitar, getting paid for it, and it was just so cool. So those bar chords and stuff that I was learning, to play rock music, I was playing that, but playing Tejano music, and it was pretty cool being that young and getting paid to play guitar. That was quite the experience for sure.
I bet. I mean, and just no, it's yeah, that's yeah, the
And I have
quinceañeras
pictures
or
too. If I come across one, Jeff, I'll send one to you. Sometimes it
oh,
shows
that'd
up
be great.
on
Like you're
Facebook.
actually
Or
dressed up in
yeah,
the little outfits.
the black pants. It was black pants and a white button-up T-shirt.
Oh, they didn't have you wear the traditional garb.
No,
Uh,
no, no. Yeah, that would be mariachi music.
Oh, that shit is
I think
mariachi, but there's some Tejanos
yep.
that play that mariachi, that wear the mariachi too. Like I think Los Tigres del Norte sometimes
Yep.
rocks it, or the
So that would be a
Quintanillas.
that would be a norteño band.
They are, but they sometimes rock Mary. I think
Yep.
Quintanillas. I think I might. I mean, it's like now I'm like I go. It's been a while since I
Oh.
like actually looked at pictures
Hmm.
and thought about it because like now that I don't live in Houston, I don't see as much Tejano stuff around me. And I used to live right by where the rodeo would be, so like I
Hmm.
would see like every time like they pop up those names for the rodeo, and I go, oh, cool. Like
Yeah.
I came close to going to like Tejano night because that's some fun nights too. I mean, I don't speak much Spanish, but I understand quite a bit. So that's like I'm
Uh-huh.
happy to be on board. And like being the white boy who understands more Spanish than I speak. So like when people are talking about me, it's always so nice too. So I go, oh, you're talking shit about me. All right, whatever. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're meaning. Que pasa what? Yeah, it's half the fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a whole different subject, but I think we talked about this last time, but there is a large controversy. There's always been in the Houston area about what is Tejano and what's not.
oh
And
yeah.
the best way I can describe it, to be fair to everybody, is Mexican music is you like okay. So in American music, right? You have jazz, you have country, you have rock, you have rap, you have blues. Like that's American music, right? In Mexican music, you have norteño, you have tejano, you have mariachi, you have Mexican rock, you have Mexican folk, banda music. So it's the same thing, and it's just one of those things. There's different types of Mexican music, and they have their different genres, and there's different types of American music, and they have their different genres. And the Tejanos are very protective of their specific genre.
Well,
So
that's
it's
and
just
then
one of
but
those things.
yeah, but just dumb Americans don't understand that there's other types of music in
No,
other countries, so they just go, well, we know
right.
what we heard Tejano, so it's all Tejano night,
It's all
regardless whether or not it's
Tejanos.
on.
No,
Uh,
and Tejanos are like, no, that's not
no, the
Tejano.
fact
What
is,
are
I
you
think the
talking
last year they
about?
did. Yeah, I think the last year before I moved, the night I really came close to going because Los Tigres del Norte was doing the
Hmm.
rodeo. I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago
Yeah,
maybe.
that was a big
Uh,
controversy. Yeah.
but they're really fucking good. So it's,
So they're
I mean,
so
yeah,
they're good. Matter of fact, I think I even made a Facebook post about it. Like I will definitely respect their music because they are good and they are popular. And the post I put on Facebook at the time was something along the lines of it would be like having, I don't know, Dwight Yoakam at a rap concert. Like,
fair.
it was like the fact that you had a norteño band at a Go Tejano night was very
Yeah,
controversial.
but that's the fact is because Americans don't understand that there are other types of stuff. It's all just all we know what Tejano is, so it's all Tejano. I mean, I get it. It's like when they could have just said, "All right, cool, it's Mexican Heritage Night," and just been done with it, and it would have
Right,
been easy
right,
to make
right.
the
Yeah,
sense. Just like or Latin, or
yeah.
even just fucking
But
Latin.
but but
I mean,
yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, but quick shout out to I don't know, Grupo Éxito, David Lee Garza, Los Musicales, Jay Perez. Um, I mean, gosh, there's so many. The
yeah,
Latin
check.
Breed. I mean, there's so many good Tejano bands that are still out there doing their thing. So
No, yeah, dude, like it's like I'm one of the type of people like I will like will once I get fully vaccinated, which I'm almost there. Because like the before times, I would like I'll go see anything live music wise, just even if I'm not gonna buy their
mhm.
record because I'll still enjoy a live performance, even if it's not my normal cup of tea. And like it's like like
Mhm.
with Latin music, it's I mean for me, it's not gonna be the thing I'm gonna listen to all the time, but I still appreciate it and shit. Like, all
Mhm.
right, cool. I'm gonna go check out some really
Yep.
cool stuff. And so, whenever you get fully everybody, when you get fully
Yeah.
vaccinated, go see live music, whatever it is. If it's they're rocking an actual Tejano band down the street, go check it out. Go check Norteño. Fucking love Norteño's shit. Fucking like we're talking south of the border stuff at the moment. Like a good like fucking like
Mhm.
Mexican Latin rock band like El Tree and
Yeah.
fuck I can't
Yeah.
remember. There's a couple others that are really really good. 100% Taquitos in Houston was really good about playing like all these like these Mexican rock station like videos
Hmm.
and stuff while you're eating food. So I always like half time I went there because one, good food and cheap, and two, I could watch all these really cool videos. And but yeah, go see that stuff. And
Yep.
the national acts will be okay. Check out local shit. And if the only thing you
Hmm.
have local is like a really good Latin band, go check that out. Go check a good cover band. Anyways, I mean,
Yeah.
if like Holy Water Enema happens to be playing live someplace, cheap
It'll happen.
segue,
It will happen. It
cheap
will
segue.
happen.
Go check out that
That was a
live too,
cheap
because
segue.
yeah, I know it was, and I plan on seeing it. Yeah, because Mexigun right there is now the drummer for our good friends. Like, yeah, because like Scabs is one of my best friends, and so and like I've known Mike for a bit. For the Holy Water Enema, which is this great, fun band. I've had them playing a couple times in the Devil's Hour, and then I know that when you joined up, I went like when I heard tale of it
Yeah,
happening before it was official, and I went good because that's now like weirdly enough it's
that
like
makes sense.
now
Yeah.
also Mike has to push his game up too, which is actually a good thing, so I like it a lot. So and I think it's going to be a good marriage that Scabs can ride all those coattails for. So
Right. You know, the thing is that I've heard. So obviously, I mean, I'm in the band now, right? And I've heard some of the stuff. I mean, Mike and I have known each other for almost 20 years now. So, he's been working on some of the Holy Water Enema stuff back when I was still in Mike Terror back in the late 2010s. But anyway, you were talking about Mike stepping his game up a little bit. I know that was a little tongue in cheek, but seriously, some of the stuff that he's writing now that I've heard that nobody else has heard, it sounds
yeah.
pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not. It was tongue in cheek. I mean, but it's still that whole sort of
Yeah.
thing. I go. I kind of want to make sure that Mike's game gets stepped up because it should, or and especially adding in his ear stuff as well. Because I know you're just going to help add to that whole weird gumbo that is Holy Water Enema just that much more, which will turn. I
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I Scabs lovingly shits on it like he shits on anything he does. But I told him I listened to it. I go, no, this is no, it's like I really enjoyed it. There is a market for this. If it's like
Mm-hmm.
as time progresses, so as I said, I don't know if I told like so I mentioned that I did music for Wild 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once upon a time, I worked as a label rep for a label, and I was part of AR. So it's all about listening to bands and try to bring them in to sign them to labels. So I had to
Yep.
listen to how bands sounded, look at crowd reactions, and try to figure out what the next try to help
Yeah.
figure out what the next Nirvana was, what the next this, what the next that was. This was up. That's like I was. That's when I was living in Dallas, Dallas area in the '90s when Dallas blew
Mm.
up for music wise, and so that was really cool. And then Creed came around, and everybody to sound like Creed, and I just
Everybody
went,
wanted to sound like Creed. Yeah.
ah, man,
But it.
literally, I literally kind of go, you know, you need this band, this band, this band. They go, but Creed, who like was in this little small label, like blew
Right.
up. So we should just sound like him. I go, no, that's even more reason why we don't need to, because they already do Creed. Here's this really cool band that sounds like nothing you've never heard of. They're weird, and wonky. By the way, they're the band that plays the music at the opening of this show and the Devil's Hour currently. That you need to sign on because they're that weird, wacky sort of sound. I think will be much better long term. But what do I know?
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fun. We had our first. I don't know. I guess we hadn't talked since this, but we had our first practice. Our first practice. Um, I guess 2 weeks ago now.
It was a couple of weeks ago when Scabs had you guys on his show.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was trying to remember. It's like, yeah, we talked about it, but I don't know if you were there. You were there. You were the producer
Technically
in the
I was
background.
there, but I was working
Yeah.
the tech behind the scenes, so I was
Yeah,
there.
that's
But
what it was.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because I was like, yeah, but no, it was. Man, it just felt good to get back behind a drum set with other people. I mean, number one because of the pandemic, but number
yeah,
two because just I had retired from music. I guess 20. 14 probably, but anyway, that's another long story I won't get into, but I'm glad to be back in a band. That's for sure.
No, it's really good. Everybody, you can go to all the currently you can go to all the places you get music to pick up the Holy Water. And I recommend Bandcamp for people. Go to holywater.bandcamp.com because more money goes to the band through Bandcamp than almost any other service. And everybody goes, well, just stream it. Guess what? Money for streaming for small bands is next to nothing. You have to be a huge band to get on constant play to make any decent money in that stuff. And they might get lucky. I mean, you can still stream their music. Just buy the record and then start streaming it. And eventually, if enough people do it, they might start making money. But buy the music at bandcamp.com. I think there's merch available that way too. I don't know. I'll talk to Scabs because I need a Holy Water in my shirt. So
we need merch, damn it. Hell, I want merch.
Yeah, I know there's stuff that was available, but I don't know how Mike's doing it. And Mike, if you're watching, I mean, just let me know where I can buy it. I'm happy to buy it.
That's it. And I think I said this about Mike too when Scabs and I and Mike were talking. But one of the reasons that I'm putting my all into this is because I'm a fan, and I think I told the story of if you're a filmmaker and you're a fan of Star Wars, and then you get to make a film with George Lucas, or if you're if you're an artist and then you get to go work with a famous artist, then it's like me. I'm a fan of Mike and his music. I'm a fan of Scabs. Scabs and I have been friends forever. And then they're like, oh, hey, you want to be the drummer for our band? I'm like, I mean, that's just an awesome, awesome thing to be a fan. And then they ask you to be a part of it. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Oh, I agree. And like for people who like Mike Terror, who is the is one of the singers for Holy One. I remember I had a band called Mike Terror. It was Mike Terror and the
Postmortem Spacemen.
That's Postmortem Spacemen.
That was the original concept album, but it kind of morphed away from that.
It basically despite to name somebody who really is under controversy right now, but it's probably what he probably got inspired for too. So like Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Children, and then it just became Marilyn Manson the band, and then became Marilyn Manson the person. In that respect, but that's the only two allusions whatsoever between Mike Terror and Manson. But other than the type of music, because it was very much in that same vein. But yeah, Mike Terror's also really good. I've checked out quite a bit of stuff. I never had a chance to see it live because when you guys were doing stuff live with Mike Terror, I was in a whole nother world at that time. So I unfortunately never got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Probably 2012, 2013, I want to say. That's when we were in just I don't know if you want to call it the groove or the I don't want to say the prime because that's not fair to Mike, but we had been together for a few years and we had our shows down. I mean, we were really, really, really good around that time. And it was just so much fun, just being able to load up the U-Haul and the Toyota Sequoia and just drive all over the place. Here's what do you call it? A little bit of trivia or, fun facts behind the scenes. But if you go watch the music video to Snakes and Fakes by Mike Terror, you'll see the band get into a large SUV after the club scene. Mm-hmm. That was my soccer dad SUV. That was the Toyota Sequoia in that shot that we all got into. So there's a little bit of trivia, or what do you call that, Easter egg. That was Mexi's Sequoia.
That's good to know. They got released. That video got released. I'm pulling it up now because I'm a nerd this way.
Yep.
3 years ago.
I mean,
that video came out.
Yep. Here's another one. Another Easter egg is if you look at the guy that's the bouncer in that music video. Again, this is Snakes and Fakes by Mike Terror. There's a big guy like this, the bouncer. That's actually my cousin, Mr. Jason Gankstead.
There we go. Hey.
Yeah. He was working as a bouncer at that the burlesque club, or what was the name of that place? There was a I can't even remember. He's gonna kill me for not knowing, but he was working at this place where they did like old timey like 1950s shtick type stuff. It was a place in Houston. I can't remember what it was called, but he was working there at the time doing that kind of stuff. I don't know, but anyway, we digress.
No, that's fine. That's what happens. That's the idea. Is it's a conversation, so we don't have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
I don't have to go. And
Mhm.
so now,
Yep, yep. So definitely, I can definitely segue into one more thing. I did want to talk about my shirt, the
oh
save
yeah,
files,
we're gonna talk about that.
because yeah,
Yeah,
because
we're gonna
they
talk
there
about.
the picture that was used of me, I guess, for the promo material for this deal, I had this shirt, and that was probably a 2013 photo ish around. I was involved in a lot of things, and to kind of go to progress my career from kind of being a kid to learning Nirvana to playing professionally. When I started first doing music for shows, for internet shows,
Yeah.
this was a show called The Save Files.
Okay.
And it's done by a good friend of mine. His name is Pantsless Aaron. That's what he goes by.
Okay.
He's out of Lockport, New York. And I was a fan of the show, The Save Files, which basically was about nostalgic video games. The Save Files. What do you remember from when you were a kid, and then looking at it now, and what's your most favorite memory from that deal? And I was a fan, and I wrote a song about it called The Save Files. So if you go to I think it's on Reverb Nation /Mexigun, you'll see a song called The Save Files Tribute, and I wrote this as a fan. I didn't know Aaron back then, and I emailed it to him. I said, "Hey, Aaron, I'm a fan. Would you like this 30-second snippet for your show?" And he was just like floored and like just so happy. He was like, "Heck yes!" And then so after that song that I wrote, because I was a fan of his show, that became the intro to the Save Files. And so that was
That's
my first foray into making music for online content producers.
no, it's very
So,
good. And for uh, for the people who are going to be the people who watch this show that are performers, like especially like burlesquers, sideshow performers, stuff like that, and you're needing a lot of us are like part of the new norm for performing now is going to involve digital content. That's what the pandemic is basically built on. That so even when live shows come back again, you're still going to have the need to get into digital content, if only because um, you like you're local in say Houston or Austin, but you get quote unquote booked for a show in like New York or Canada or whatever, and so you need to produce content for that sort of stuff. So a lot of times people like to play music in the background, but uh, that gets problematic because of what they call DMCA, which is kind of like
mm-hmm.
it's like laws involving like copyrights. Which don't get me wrong, the copyright laws are good for the musicians to make sure they're taken care of. But when you're a poor, like also struggling performer who can't afford the licensing for those bigger name music, gets problematic. That's why somebody like Mexigun here is a really great resource to help learn that sort of stuff. So reach out to him. Underneath his name, underneath him is actually his Instagram handle, which is at Mexigun. So you can also drop him a
Yeah.
line for stuff. He's used me like I've used music with him with the Gaffing the Truth stuff. We'll be working again because we've been kind of talking about doing some stuff soon with some of the other shows
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing, which
Sure.
I can't wait because it's gonna be a lot of fun. So he's a good resource to do something like that because that's a really good way to go. And for those people who, for one reason, just you listen to stuff, it's not your jam, also cool. Reach out to your local
Yeah.
musicians and work with them to do your stuff. So that way, once you get them work, you also get them play because you can say, "Hey, this is my music," and at the end, you just go "music by so and so" because that's also very important. That's why at the end of the Gaffney and the Truth says "music by Mexigun."
Yeah.
So it's just making sure they
No,
still
there's
get that
there's
reference. So
definitely yeah, there's definitely a lot of variety. I mean, being growing up with new age music for me, and growing up with country music. I do not like country music. Let me make that clear. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my forte. But being in a Tejano band, a Tex-Mex band, I can play George Strait. But I can also do jazz. I did jazz band in high school. I do. I can play Metallica. I can play Megadeth. But then again, I can play grunge like Soundgarden and Nirvana and Foo Fighters. So definitely, if anybody is looking for something, hey, I've got a studio upstairs. Music is my hobby. I'm fortunate enough to have a great career with a great company that I've been with for 17 years. So music is not my,
So
not
what you're
looking to
saying
make a
is,
quick buck.
so you're gonna get a really good deal working with Mexicans.
Right.
What we're saying.
You're gonna get a really good deal
So
for
that's
sure.
that's the basically that's basically what I want to say is making sure that because I mean, he still wouldn't mind to get you at least a nice dinner and stuff like that, but he's not going to charge you like he's not going to charge you crazy prices. He's going to be very very fair because
Yeah, yeah,
this is what he loves, and so I cannot
exactly. This
recommend
is my
him
hobby.
enough. Yeah, I can't recommend enough. And like literally, it's like. And like literally, you go to Reverb Nation, you go to SoundCloud, look up Mexigun. All of his shit's there. I've downloaded, I think, all of it and listened to it really intently because I'm like going, all right, cool, I really dig this stuff. And
Hmm.
it's the when you go, hey, you can use whatever you want of my stuff whenever. So I really like basically I really
Yep.
listen to like every second of it because I'm going because that's because
I
you
believe
sit.
all of my Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to my Reverb Nation page because I think I've switched over to SoundCloud for my latest song that I put out.
Well, yeah,
But
I
I
listen to
believe
that
it's
too.
all free.
No,
I
it is
believe
all
it's all
free.
you
It's
just
all
download it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all free and downloadables, and which I did. And it's like if I could, but it's like I'm like, but it's like I really took a point to really listen to it hardcore, and it's all over the
Cool, man.
spectrum and music wise on what it is. And there's one track that I really love, and I can't remember what it is that I came close to using for a new song, to do new beginning for Devil's
Hmm.
Hour. It just ran a little
Is it,
slower than what I
it?
wanted.
I bet you, if I had to guess, I'm wondering if it was "I Can See," the intro to "I Can See."
I like I Can See, but no, I think it's like is it what, I
Okay.
hate myself and want to die or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was a cover. That was the Nirvana cover, and that was just the piano and me doing a what do you call it? It's not quite a cappella, but it's like a
Yeah, it's like
sonata.
no, it's in the no, it's that it goes in the no, it's like what was it in the sunshine something. I can't remember the name of the fucking song. Uh, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's not no, it's not. I hate myself when I
In the
die.
someday, what's that sound?
And
In the
in the
someday,
someday,
what's that?
that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's "I Hate Myself and I Want to Die." That's
that
actually
was
a
it.
cover of a Nirvana song
Oh,
that
but it's
was off
so
of.
different. I didn't recognize it, so that's why I went. All right,
Yeah,
cool. He's got this cool new song. I didn't
yeah,
even dawn on
yeah,
me that that was their song because
yeah.
it
That's
sounds
a
so different.
Oh, I know it sounds very different. Yeah, Runny Nose and Runny Yolk. Yeah, no, that's actually in Nirvana's "I Hate Myself and I Want to Die." They released that off of the Beavis and Butthead Experience
Oh yeah, yeah. Now like
soundtrack.
this, yeah. It's like so like I'm glad I
But
didn't use
yeah,
it
if you,
because
yeah,
it's.
no, it sounds way different. No. It's way different. No, I can see that, right? Because it's like you hear that song and it's like, and it's really loud. And so I took that song and I had just got a MIDI keyboard for my studio and I started playing these chords and I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds like that. And then I was like, well, let me make it a piano sonata with triple harmonies of "I Hate Myself and Want to Die." Yeah, that was that's a Nirvana song.
It's
It's a cover.
no,
Yeah,
it's really really good. I mean I listened to that like a lot,
that's
and
good, man.
so
I'm glad you like that.
uh
Yeah, that was one of my first forays into actually singing. Every person I've talked to that's a singer hates their voice, and I'm no different. I'm one of those guys that hate my voice. Um, but I just went with it. I'm like, hey, I want to do a triple harmony. That comes from my Tejano background. A lot of Tejanos, when they sing the chorus, they do triple harmonies, and I was like, I want to do that. Plus my Alice in Chains background.
well of course. I
So,
mean
yeah,
it's no it's yeah that's definitely a track for everybody to check out. I really dig it a lot.
yeah. No, I hate
Um,
myself and want to die. Yeah.
so what's your what's currently in your mix list right now that you're listening to? who are
Oh
you listening
gosh.
to that's giving you kind of that musical boner, as it were?
Oh man. Honestly, I have been listening to a lot of Holy Water Enema because of
Well, I
practice.
mean, yeah, but I mean beyond that, yeah, but beyond that, I mean that's the given.
Yeah, gosh, I'm gonna sound like a bore here,
No, that's fine. I
but I
mean,
haven't I haven't been listening to music that much lately because my drive to work has gotten a lot longer. So I'm really into podcasts right now.
also
Um,
fine. I mean, so what's
so yeah, let me plug. Matter of fact, so yeah, this man, you're so good at segues. Let me plug my friend Aaron, who used to do the Faye Files. He's actually doing a podcast that got shouted out by what's the guy's name that plays Silent Bob from Jay
oh
and Silent Bob?
oh yeah, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. Yeah, Kevin Smith actually shouted out this podcast. So Aaron and his friends are doing a podcast called BFYTW, which stands for because fuck you. That's why.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and so they do a variety show podcast. So I've been listening to that. So that's my friend Aaron, who used to do the Save Files. He does that podcast now. But let me ask you, Jeff, are you a fan of Battlestar Galactica, the
I
new
do like
one, not
both.
the one from the '70s?
I've seen both, and I enjoyed the most recent series.
Yeah. So for any fans of Battlestar Galactica, Trisha Helfer, who plays number six, the sixth Cylon, and Mark Bernardin, who, wow, that's a weird segue, but Mark Bernardin actually has a podcast with Kevin Smith called Something in the Fat Man or something like that.
Oh
Anyway, Mark,
yeah.
but yeah, Mark Bernardin and Trisha Helfer watched every single episode of Battlestar Galactica and did a weekly podcast. So that's what I've been actually listening to lately is those two podcasts. And here's one out of left field, way left field. Believe it or not, I'm actually a huge NASCAR fan. And so I listen to a podcast called Door Bumper Clear, which when you're passing a car, you're at your door, you're at the bumper, and now you're clear. So it's
Okay, that
three
makes sense.
spotters. Yeah, three spotters that spot for the not. It's not the superstar drivers, but it's the people that are in their ear that spot for
Yeah.
them. A lot of people don't even know that NASCAR has spotters or that race cars have spotters. People way at the rooftop. But anyway, it's Freddie Kraft, T.J. Majors, and Brett Griffin are three spotters for NASCAR. So they have a podcast called Door Bumper Clear, and I've been listening to that. So I don't know. I'm just not really into the music. I mean, not that the music is bad. Don't get me wrong. I still listen to. We talked about Sahano. There's an HD radio station called Fierro HD in the Houston area, 10,
Yeah.
101.3 HD2 or something. But really, it's been Holy Water Enema and those three podcasts are what I'm listening to at the
No,
moment.
it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you a couple other podcasts to listen to?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna put them in my phone.
So one I want you to do that definitely want you to do is called a thing called Orbax, Orbax, and Pepper
Hmm.
do a podcast.
Okay.
So Orbax and Pepper are good friends of mine. They've actually been on this show before. They're Sideshow
Okay.
phenomenon out of Canada, and they've been doing it for like 20 plus years, and so they have a lot of weird friends, and so they started doing a podcast, and they got everything like they're Sideshow performers. They have like comedians. They've had I think Jerry Only from the Misfits.
Hmm.
Just all sorts of people, and they're just really great, fun people that I've known forever. I don't know, like a few years, anyways. And so they're amazing people to listen to and talk to. And another one, a really cool one that I really liked that I'm going to shamelessly plug because I was in an episode and I'm also the voiceover for the opener as well. So the talk, like the thing, welcome to the show. Voice is mine. It's called the Pony Pod. It's
I'm typing
what
it
that
in
is.
right now.
Yeah, Pony Pod is about. Mary Jane Green, also a friend on the show, been on the show before, way back and things. She's a burlesque performer out of Dallas, and so
Mhm.
she started talking to performers of varying sorts about travel, like, but not just about how they're doing, but also like, you know, the state of the industry, and then like talking about how they travel and stuff like that for performers. So a lot of fun as well. Both of those things will give you several. I mean, there's at least 20 some odd episodes of each of those, so they'll keep you busy. I know some others too, but
Oh
I go,
yeah.
those are the two because I actually know those people. I'm gonna plug them because
Hmm. Oh
they're good
yeah, yeah,
people, and
yeah.
that's just also it may just be a good thing for you to break up your podcast schedule for something new and interesting. And anybody's watching, they're on
Yeah.
Spotify, they're on iTunes, they're on all that shit. Even if you subscribe, just subscribe. It helps numbers for people. You are helping small town people. That's the small people performers
Yeah.
get their metrics.
There you
Just
go.
following is a good thing to do. Like following this channel is a good thing to do because it still helps us. It's great. We got about 9-ish minutes left.
Hmm.
So we talked. We know. Okay, so other than like your total man crush on Dave Grohl, which is fair. I mean, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
But I mean, it's, I mean,
Primus.
what other? Yeah, you know where I was going, right? No, fucking
Yeah,
Primus.
yeah,
Yeah, my,
yeah. No, Primus. So quick story. The first, I would say, I don't know, famous person that I ever met, and you could say people because way back in the early days of the interwebs. I mean, this was in 1990, probably 98. It was right around the Brown album, pretty much a Primus fan, somewhere in the late 90s. Um, I was still in high school, but I was one of the early adopters to internet, right, before a lot of people. And they had this contest on the Primus website. Um, and I still remember the question. They said, "Who is Neil Hamburger?" And the answer was a strange and powerful man. And so I entered this contest and I found it and I mean I couldn't have been 17. I was probably a junior in high school, but anyway, I won tickets and backstage passes to a Primus show at the Eyeball, for which is no longer anymore, but for those in the Houston area, it used to be the International Ballroom, right there off of 90 in Southwest Houston. But anyway, it was called the Eyeball, and I got to meet Les Claypool, and I got to meet Brian Mantia, who was the drummer at the time, and of course Larry Lalonde. And to this day, I am still a huge Primus fan. I have a 6-string fretless bass so that I can play Primus songs. A lot of my
I didn't
fretless
know
bass is
that.
actually used at things. Yeah, matter of fact, not my latest song, but a lot of the music you're hearing on my Reverb Nation page, the bass is my 6-string fretless. I use that pretty much on all. You can really hear it. There's a song that I have called "Thank You," and
Yes.
it's
Okay.
an
Yeah.
instrumental song. But if you hear that song, you can hear the wah, 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 that's my fretless bass.
Okay.
But I got the fretless bass. Yeah.
I'll re-listen to it. No, Primus is amazing. Yeah, Les. I had met Les. I think I met Les twice. First time was just very.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, you Grace. And that was it. I had
Yeah.
a slightly longer conversation. Like it's the back in my music industry days. So it's like I get to meet a lot of really crazy people that came through the Dallas area, and like Les Claypool and Brian was another person I
Yeah,
met
Brian.
then
Yeah,
too.
Brian.
Yeah, and his name is Brian, but on the albums he was always called
Yeah,
Brain.
Brain.
So
Yeah,
because
definitely. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
all started with a
Or fish
misspelling of his
bait.
name somewhere. So yeah, and then for all you really big into Primus, because Primus sucks.
Yep, Primus sucks.
Primus sucks. No, it's no, just yeah, Primus amazing. I really got like my go-to because I do a lot of YouTube now because of the shows and stuff like that. So I'm really getting into music. I'm
Mhm.
like really small piece of music and stuff like that. But the other thing I've gotten into is like like weird reaction videos and like
Mhm.
watching these people who've never heard various bands, ranging from like African American people who've never heard like some rock songs. And there's this guy who's like
Yeah.
he's like this like composer for like like kids TV shows, and so like he
Mhm.
just was never in his foray. So like as his thing is like he started listening to music, and so he heard like he heard Tommy the Cat for the first time. I watched him listen to Tommy the Cat,
Oh
and it was
yeah.
like just amazing watching him just going.
like listening, like so, like he's getting very like listening to him just like what like technically things running in his head, and so he just goes stops. He goes, "All right, so this is what I'm hearing," and what? It just
Yeah.
and so the whole thing about
It,
Primus and like Les Claypool uh, is an amazing bassist, and Rolling Stone just released their top 50 bassists of all time, and
please tell
Les
me Claypool
Claypool.
was in there.
I mean, he's in it. It's a
Good.
crime that he's not higher up in that list
Wow.
because like he's
Yeah.
in
Who was
like
number
the
one?
shit.
It's okay if you don't know. I was just curious.
Well, I don't care. It's my show. I
Getty
could
Lee's
do
got to
whatever.
be in there too, right?
Oh, of course. I
Victor
mean, yeah,
Wooten.
but
Hopefully, Victor Wooten's in there.
I
Victor
believe
Wooten.
so.
Actually, my wife actually bought me Victor Wooten's book. It's sitting on my. I'm looking at it. It's sitting over there. I want to read it. But Victor Wooten is an awesome bassist. Couple of while you're looking it up, a couple of quick musical influences I don't want to
Yeah.
miss. First off is speaking of Primus, Buckethead. If anybody's not ever heard of Buckethead or listened to Buckethead, I actually found him through Primus because he came on stage. But Buckethead is probably a big influence. And I would say I'm writing an EP right now. I have about 5 songs that I need to record. They are very much influenced by Tool right now. Drop D, weird time signatures. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Buckethead and Tool as
Oh, both.
also
Yeah, also
very good
phenomenal. Les Claypool was ranked
musical influence.
36th out of 50.
Wow.
And
Not
there's
even
some
in the
people on the
top
list. Don't get me
half.
wrong. There's some good people on the list, but I would rank him higher.
Do you
And there's
see
some people
Victor Wooten in there anywhere?
like I'm like
I don't know if
well, so there's some stuff like like don't get me wrong. I love Lemmy to death. Lemmy wasn't a great bassist. Lemmy was
yeah.
Lemmy. It had nothing to do with his bass playing, and he ranks higher. Sting ranks higher. Which again, also a great bassist, but other stuff he's better known
Yeah.
for. I'm making my way up right now, so and I
Yeah.
think Victor
If
Wooten is in
anybody
there.
hasn't if anybody hasn't heard of Victor Wooten, check him out. He does stuff on the bass that's just it's impossible. He was in a band called Bela Fleck and the Fleck Tones. It's kind of a very
Oh,
strange.
fucking love Bella. Yeah, Bella Fleck is amazing. The Flecktones.
Yeah, so Victor
Uh,
Wooten is his bassist or
oh,
was.
okay, yeah.
I don't know if he's is. Yeah.
Getty Lee was ranked 24th.
So who was
Bill
number
Wy-
one?
Bill Wyman at 23. I'm gonna go to the top 10. I mean, some of the stuff makes sense. Like John Entwistle from The Who was ranked number 3,
Hmm.
which is a good basis. But
I tell you, who
Mingus,
is the guy? Who is the
Mingus,
guy
when you're
from?
on
Is it
Jet. From what?
Iron Maiden? Iron Maiden bassist. The bassist for Iron Maiden? Or now there's
Yeah.
this one. Patrick, this one bassist that does the Gallup beat really well, and I can't think of which band that is. It's like dun, 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 dun. It's like, gosh, dang, that dude can jam.
All right, so the number one guy is a guy you probably aren't aware of, but the only reason why is because he's like on all these records, but they never said who he was. So this guy named
Oh, okay.
James Jamerson, which sounds like a fake name, but it's a
Yeah.
real name. But dude, like all the records in Motown, all the singers had all basically the same band playing for them.
Right,
This is the
right.
bassist for that band.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
so it's like basically it's like Paul McCartney basically goes, yeah, that guy, like I didn't know really who he was until recently, but that dude, I listened to so many of those records because they didn't like at that
That's
time.
him.
All they
That's
talked
the
about
guy.
was the singers, like Charles Mingus, who's like an amazing jazz bassist, is number 2, which totally get that one.
Yeah.
Who else? Number 3, John Entwistle, which I'm. Wow, why is this being slow? Bootsy, number 4.
Oh yeah, Bootsy Collins. Come on, yeah.
I
Bootsy.
mean, that
Bootsy did
makes sense.
some stuff with
That
Buckethead.
makes-
Oh yeah, so I totally agree with Bootsy. Yeah.
Carol Kay, who's another person. Now I'm not having an issue with the webpage. Yeah, like, who is actually another like session musicians that just like was on all these big things for a single artist. I mean, there's some good stuff that I thought Primus, like, dude, Les Claypool at 36 with a fuck, what? Fuck, no.
Yeah.
He's at least, I mean, I would say at least top 20. I mean,
At
I mean,
least
yeah,
top 20. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's
just,
like I go at least. I'm like Cliff Burton. Like I love Cliff Burton. Love Metallica.
yeah,
Ray Tire, and dude's been dead for like 35 years, and he was on 2 records.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I love him to death. Really good
yeah.
bassist. Dyer's Eve, like was it Dyer's Eve, where he did the really good bass solo thing. Amazing.
hmm
Better
hmm
than Les Claypool.
No, no, I would agree with that, and I'm a Metallica fan too.
Yeah,
But no, knowing, I guess from a musical standpoint, as a musician, and the technicality, and knowing what people like Les Claypool, people like Victor Wooten, some of the stuff they can do on the bass, I guess the layman or the people that's like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. But being a musician and knowing how and what they can do is yeah, they definitely should be up there.
no, it's like that whole. That's what I said. It's like things like I can't remember Robert Trujillo Ray Tire because like Rob Trujillo, who's now the current bassist for Metallica, used to be with like
hmm
Infectious Grooves
Suicidal tendencies,
and
right?
Suicidal Tendencies. That's how I knew him
Yeah,
from. Was originally Suicidal.
yeah,
Amazing, he's an
yeah.
amazing bassist. So there are things
Matter
like
of
so.
fact,
Anyways,
quick plug for Trujillo and Claypool. They just released a video together of some stuff that they did. It's actually pretty good. So I don't even know what it's called, but go check it out. Trujillo and
oh no,
Claypool.
yes, yeah, no,
They did a jam. They did a music video together. It's an old western, spaghetti western type deal. It's pretty funny.
no, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just so yeah, as we just track, that's what it is. Um, so we're about that time, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for tuning in. I had a great time chatting with you. Everybody, make sure, uh,
Yeah.
right
Hit me
there
up.
underneath right there under his name is his Instagram handle. Drop him a line if you want to get work some music with him because he's gonna be a good
Yeah,
guy
you can.
to
Yep.
do stuff.
Find me everywhere on the internet. Twitter.com/Mexigun, Facebook.com/Mexigun, Instagram.com/Mexigun. I used to have a YouTube channel /Mexigun, but I can't log in because it's an old email. But definitely, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Mexigun. That's me. Let me
Yeah,
know.
and if you want to.
I'm more than willing to help anybody out. Definitely.
No, it's definitely worthwhile, man. So everybody, be cool, be safe. We'll talk to you guys later. Be cool, be safe, be groovy, and as always, everybody, keep drinking. Everybody, bye.
Yep. Wash your hands.